try 999-9999. According to the legend, if you dial this number after midnight, an eerie voice on the other end will answer, ready to grant your deepest, darkest wish. But there's a catch. Whatever you ask for will come true, but your life will be the price. The legend has it that the voice on the other end is patient, almost amused, as if it's heard countless desperate pleas before. You might hear soft breathing or the faint sound of something shifting, waiting for you to speak your desire. Ask for fame, fortune, or revenge, and it's granted, swift and precise. But the moment your wish is fulfilled, your fate is sealed. Witnesses claim that people who dared to make the call found themselves in strange, terrifying accidents shortly after, as if some unseen force had come to collect their due. Stories tell of a girl who dialed the number to become the most popular student in school. She achieved her wish, but within days she was found dead under mysterious circumstances, her phone lying beside her with 9999999 still on the screen. Another tale recounts a young man who asked for unimaginable wealth, only to be discovered lifeless in his luxury apartment just days later, the phone's last call pointing to that same cursed number. In 2002, the legend inspired a horror film, 9999999, where the cursed number brings terror to those who dare to test its power. Even today, some thrill seekers and skeptics dial 9999999 after midnight, hoping to prove the legend false. But as the silence stretches on and the dial tone fades, some swear they hear a faint voice asking softly, "What is your wish?" We dive into the unsettling tale of the colander lie detector, a strange and eerie urban legend. Settle in, relax, and let this mysterious story guide you gently into sleep. An eerie urban legend from the 1960s speaks of a chilling interrogation method used by police or army investigators. It began with a crude yet unsettling setup. A colander, typically used for straining pasta, repurposed into a nightmarish piece of equipment. The investigators would place this everyday kitchen item onto the head of a suspect, but its sinister transformation didn't end there. Wires connected the colander to a photocopier, creating the illusion of advanced technology. In a dimly lit interrogation room, the suspect would sit nervously as the investigators loomed over them, watching intently. The tension was palpable, the walls closing in as the suspect was bombarded with questions. The investigators' eyes would dart back and forth between the suspect and the machine, waiting for the first crack in their story. Each time the suspect answered, the photocopier would whir to life, spitting out a fresh sheet of paper. The sound of its mechanical churning filled the room, amplifying the sense of dread. If the answer was deemed acceptable, the machine remained silent, offering a brief respite. But if the investigators found the response suspicious or dishonest, the copier would hiss and clunk, printing a single sheet with a damning message: "He's lying." The effect was immediate. Suspects, already frazzled and scared, would crumble under the pressure of the so-called lie detector, convinced that the colander was exposing their every falsehood. They couldn't know that it was all a cruel trick. The investigators manipulated the machine, not through science or technology, but through psychological warfare. The power of suggestion turned the colander and photocopier into terrifying tools to circulate of suspects who couldn't handle the pressure, of minds unravelling as they became trapped in a game where the stakes felt life or death. Whispers of the colander lie detector persist, and while it's easy to dismiss it as a bizarre tale from the past, one can't help but wonder if, somewhere in a dark corner of the world, the machine is still being used, waiting to catch its next victim in its web of fear and deception. Tonight, let's uncover the haunting legend of the Bell Witch, a mysterious entity that terrorized a family in early 19th century Tennessee. Relax and let this eerie tale guide you to restful sleep. The Bell Witch is an enduring folklore legend that originated in Robertson County, Tennessee, from 1817 to 1821. The story centers around the Bell family, particularly John Bell Sr., a farmer whose household and nearby community were reportedly terrorized by a mysterious and mostly invisible entity. Unlike typical ghost stories, the Bell Witch was said to be capable of speaking, interacting with the physical environment, and even shape-shifting. According to legend, the haunting began when John Bell Sr. encountered strange phenomena on his property, including unexplained noises such as knocking and scratching, and the sighting of bizarre animals. As time went on, the entity became more aggressive, attacking family members by pulling their hair, slapping them, and speaking in a disembodied voice. The witch, as it came to be known, seemed to hold a particular hatred for John Bell Sr. and his daughter Betsy. The Bell Witch's powers reportedly escalated, with the entity predicting events and conversing with visitors to the Bell home. Some accounts even claim that the witch was responsible for John Bell Sr.'s death in 1820, allegedly poisoning him. Over the years, the Bell Witch legend has grown into a widely known ghost story, with many believing it to be one of the most famous hauntings in American history. While the true cause of the events remains a mystery, the story of the Bell Witch continues to capture the imaginations of those fascinated by the paranormal. The legend persists today, with people still visiting the site in Tennessee, where the Bell family once lived, in search of answers to the eerie tale. Tonight, let's explore the eerie legend of the Bandage Man, a mysterious figure said to haunt the coastal roads of Oregon. Relax, unwind, and drift off as we delve into this haunting tale. The Bandage Man is a chilling urban legend from the Pacific Northwest, particularly well known along the Oregon coast. The story centers around a mysterious and terrifying figure, a man wrapped in bloody bandages who appears on desolate roads to attack cars and terrorize unsuspecting teenagers. The origins of this legend trace back to a gruesome sawmill accident, but dangerous and grueling timber industry. One day, he was involved in a horrific accident at a local sawmill, where he was caught in a machine and severely mangled. Despite the efforts to save him, the man's injuries were too grave. He was wrapped in bandages from head to toe in a desperate attempt to treat his wounds, but he ultimately succumbed to his injuries. Some versions of the story claim that his body was disfigured beyond recognition, with parts of him missing, only held together by the blood-soaked bandages that covered him. Following his death, strange sightings began to occur on a stretch of road near Cannon Beach, Oregon. Drivers and teenagers parked in their cars at night reported seeing a man wrapped in bandages appearing out of the shadows, often described as limping or dragging himself toward the vehicle. In some accounts, the bandaged man would climb onto the car, leaving bloody handprints on the windows, or even break the windows to try and grab the passengers. The legend also says that he smells of decaying flesh, and that his bandages are stained with blood, adding to the horror of his appearance. The bandaged man is particularly known for targeting teenagers who are parked on secluded roads, often in a romantic or isolated setting. Many locals warn that if you're parked along the coast late at night, especially in areas like Highway 101, you might become the next victim of the bandaged man's terrifying wrath. In some versions of the story, he's said to disappear without a trace as quickly as he appears, leaving only the unsettling memory of the encounter and, sometimes, remnants of his bloodied bandages. There are various theories about why the bandaged man haunts this specific area and why he appears so frequently. Some say that his restless spirit is seeking revenge for his untimely and gruesome death, angry at the world and jealous of those still alive. Others believe that he is merely a remnant of a tragic accident, forever trapped between life and death, doomed to wander the roads near his old workplace. While no one has ever been seriously harmed by the bandaged man, his legend has become a part of the local folklore, with many claiming to have had a close encounter with the eerie figure. Teenagers in the area continue to share stories of near misses with him, recounting their fear as they sped away from what they believed to be the ghostly figure chasing after them. Some locals suggest that the bandaged man legend serves as a cautionary tale, warning young people not to linger too long on dark, deserted roads late at night. Though there is no concrete evidence to support the existence of the bandaged man, his story persists, growing with each retelling. As with many urban legends, the bandaged man thrives on the fear of the unknown and the unsettling idea that danger could be lurking just beyond the edge of the headlights. The remote and rugged landscape of the Oregon coast only adds to the atmosphere, making the story even more believable for those who live there. Tonight, we explore the mysterious legend of Black Aggie, a haunting statue once feared for its supernatural powers. Relax, settle in, and let this eerie tale gently guide you to sleep. Black Aggie is an eerie urban legend centered around a mysterious statue that once stood at the grave of General Felix Agnes in Druid Ridge Cemetery, Pikesville, Maryland. The statue, a somber figure draped in a cloak, resembled the well-known sculpture Grief by Augustus St. Gaudens. However, over time, Black Aggie became infamous for the supernatural tales that surrounded it. According to local law, strange and unsettling events began to occur after the statue was placed in the cemetery. People claimed that Aggie's eyes would glow red at night, and that anyone who looked into them would be struck blind or cursed. Another part of the legend states that if someone sat on Aggie's lap at midnight, instances of vandalism, Black Aggie became a focal point for thrill seekers and paranormal enthusiasts. Many visited the statue either to test the legend or to experience the supernatural aura that surrounded it. The stories grew, further embedding Black Aggie into Maryland's folklore. Eventually, the statue was removed from the cemetery in 1967 to put an end to the disturbances it caused. Though the statue itself is gone, the legend of Black Aggie continues to captivate in imaginations, with people still sharing stories of the haunted statue and the eerie events that took place in Druid Ridge Cemetery. Tonight, we dive into the strange and surreal tale of aerial water bomber picking up a scuba diver. Relax as we explore this curious urban legend where the impossible becomes almost believable. The urban legend of the aerial water bomber picking up a scuba diver is a bizarre yet captivating tale that has made its way into popular culture and persists as one of the more outlandish myths in modern folklore. The story claims that an aerial water bomber, often described as either a large airplane or a helicopter equipped with a water scooping mechanism, accidentally scoops up an unsuspecting scuba diver from a body of water, only to later dump them, along with the water, over a wildfire site. According to the legend, the scuba diver is swimming or diving in a lake or reservoir when the water bomber, in an attempt to fill its tanks or bucket to help extinguish a wildfire, unknowingly captures the diver along with the water. The diver is then carried in the tank or bucket high into the air, transported to a burning forest, and dropped with the water onto the blaze. The legend typically ends with firefighters or rescue workers later discovering the charred remains of the unfortunate diver, still wearing their scuba gear, on the ground at the fire site. Some versions of the story include details of the diver's baffled expression or comments from authorities trying to piece together how the individual ended up there. This urban legend is particularly compelling because it combines elements of surprise, mystery, and dark humour, while also invoking themes of human error and the randomness of fate. It's easy to see why such a strange and tragic tale would spread, especially among communities familiar with both wildfires and water-based recreation. The concept of a scuba diver being unwittingly scooped up by a firefighting aircraft seems absurd, yet just plausible enough to intrigue listeners. The myth gained significant traction, in part due to its use as a plot device in movies such as Magnolia and Barney's version, where the bizarre event is depicted or referenced. These portrayals help cement the story in popular culture, allowing it to circulate more widely and persist as an intriguing piece of modern folklore. Despite its enduring appeal, the aerial water bomber picking up a scuba diver myth has been thoroughly debunked. Snopes.com, a well-known urban legend debunking site, lets journey into the mysterious world of the Boo Hags, a spine-chilling urban legend from the Gullah culture. Relax, close your eyes, and let this eerie tale guide you into sleep. The legend of the Boo Hag the mortal world after death, seeking out the living to continue their existence. Unlike traditional vampires, boo-hags don't drain their victims of blood. Instead, they feed off their breath, leaving their prey exhausted and lifeless. According to the legend, boo-hags are born from wicked souls who fail to move on to the afterlife. Without their skin, they appear grotesque, raw, red and sinewy, making it impossible for them to blend in with the living. To navigate the human world, boo-hags steal the skin of their victims, slipping it on like a disguise. Once they've taken someone's skin, they go out into the night to ride. This is a term used to describe their haunting behaviour, where they visit the homes of unsuspecting victims and take control of their bodies while they sleep. The process begins when a boo-hag silently enters a home, usually through cracks or open windows, as they are believed to be capable of squeezing through the smallest of spaces. Once inside, they sit on the chest of their sleeping target, feeding on their breath and life energy. As the boo-hag drains its victim, the person will experience intense nightmares, leaving them physically weakened by morning. While the boo-hag feeds, the victim is paralysed, unable to move or wake. By dawn, the witch leaves its victim, slipping away before anyone realises what happened. However, boo-hags have a weakness. They must return the skin they've stolen before sunrise, or they will be exposed and destroyed by daylight. If caught without their skin, they are vulnerable and can be easily defeated. To protect themselves, people in Gullah communities often took precautions to ward off these sinister beings. One method involved placing a broom by the door or scattering rice on the floor, as boo-hags are said to be compelled to count small objects. If a boo-hag becomes distracted by counting, it won't have enough time to finish before the sun rises, forcing it to retreat to avoid being caught. Another common belief is that painting windowsills and doors blue, a colour thought to repel evil spirits, can keep boo-hags from entering a home. The colour, known as haint blue, is a staple in many Gullah households, used to protect against a range of supernatural threats, including boo-hags. Those unlucky enough to fall victim to a boo-hag may wake up feeling completely drained, as if they've run a marathon in their sleep. The exhaustion is a telltale sign that a boo-hag visited during the night. If a boo-hag becomes particularly attached to a victim, they may return night after night, eventually leading to the victim's death through sheer exhaustion and depletion of life energy. The boo-hag legend is a chilling reminder of the dangers lurking in the shadows of the night. It warns people to be cautious, vigilant, and to protect themselves against malevolent spirits that may be waiting to take their skin for a deadly ride. The story continues to be passed down through generations. In the shadowy annals of New England's history, amidst tales of spectral figures and cursed lands, the story of Eunice Cole, or Goody Cole, stands out with a chilling resonance. In the small town of Brentwood, New Hampshire, her name became synonymous with witchcraft and woe, her life a testament to the dark superstitions that once gripped the heart of the 17th century. Goody Cole was an enigmatic figure, her life shrouded in misfortune and mystery. First accused of witchcraft in 1656, she became the scapegoat for every disaster that befell the town, from unexplained deaths to failing crops and dying livestock. Her neighbours' fear and suspicion branded her an outcast, a woman touched by the devil himself. The townsfolk whispered that she could be seen muttering to herself in the woods, concocting strange brews and communing with unseen forces. Children dared each other to peek through her dimly lit windows, only to flee in terror at the sight of her shadowy form bending over a flickering flame. It was said that she cast curses with a glance and summoned storms edge of the cemetery. They drove a stake through the heart of her plot, a grim ritual to prevent her tormented spirit from rising and haunting them. Yet, this act only solidified her legend, and it was said that her spirit lingered, malevolent and vengeful. To this day, eerie occurrences in Brentwood are often whispered to be the workings of Goody Cole's restless ghost. On stormy nights, some claim to see her figure in the flashes of lightning, wandering the woods or standing by her unmarked grave, still bound by the town's collective dread. Her legend has become a chilling reminder of the power of fear and the lasting stain of injustice, her story echoing through the centuries as a spectral tale of a woman wronged, her vengeance immortalised in the whispered fears of those who remember. Welcome to the chilling tale of Mercy Brown, an urban legend from the quiet town of Exeter, Rhode Island. Relax, close your eyes, and let this mysterious story take you back in time. In the small, quiet town of Exeter, Rhode Island, during the late 19th century, the Brown family was plagued by tragedy. Tuberculosis, a deadly disease with no known cure at the time, had already claimed the lives of several members of the family. The illness was known as consumption, due to how it appeared to waste away its victims. George Brown, the patriarch, watched helplessly as one by one his loved ones fell ill and died. His wife, Mary Eliza, was the first to succumb, followed by his eldest daughter, Mary Olive, both taken within a few short years of each other. Despite these losses, George hoped the worst had passed. However, his youngest daughter, Mercy Brown, soon fell ill with the same symptoms. Mercy was a bright young woman, but tuberculosis did not spare her, and she died in January 1892 at the age of 19. Her death left the Brown family devastated, but the horror was not yet over. Just weeks after Mercy's passing, her brother, Edwin, who had been ill for some time, took a turn for the worse. Fearing for his life, desperate measures were taken, leading to the birth of an enduring legend. At the time, tuberculosis was not well understood, and in many rural communities, fear and superstition spread almost as quickly as the disease itself. In Exeter, some townsfolk began to whisper about the possibility of something more sinister. Could the dead be rising from their graves to drain the life from the living? This idea, while unthinkable to modern sensibilities, was deeply rooted in folklore at the time. In New England, there was a long-standing belief in vampires. Though these vampires were not the glamorous creatures of Gothic fiction, but rather the restless dead rising from their graves to consume the life force of their living relatives. George Brown, despite being a practical man, was persuaded by his neighbours to exhume the bodies of his deceased family members, hoping to find the cause of Edwin's worsening condition. In March of 1892, with the ground still frozen, a small group of men gathered in the graveyard where the Browns were buried. They first dug up the remains of George's wife and eldest daughter, but both had decomposed as expected. Then they turned to Mercy. Unlike the others, Mercy's body was found to be in a strangely preserved state, even though she had been buried for over 2 months. Her skin still appeared relatively intact, and there were even rumours that her body had shifted in the grave, as though she had been moving after death. The most alarming discovery, however, was the presence of fresh blood in her heart and veins. Tonight we delve into the eerie tale ankle-slicing car thief, also known as the man under the car, is a chilling urban legend that preys on the fear of being attacked in a vulnerable moment. The story typically begins with a driver who, while on the road, starts hearing strange noises coming from underneath their car. Concerned about the source of the noise, they eventually pull over and step out of the vehicle to investigate. Unbeknownst to them, a car thief is hiding under the car, waiting for this exact moment. As soon as the driver kneels down or bends over to check for the issue, the thief strikes, slicing open the driver's ankles with a knife. Immobilized by pain and unable to move, the driver is left helpless, rolling on the ground in agony. Meanwhile, the thief quickly emerges from under the car, climbs into the driver's seat, and steals the vehicle, leaving the victim stranded and injured. This urban legend plays on a common fear of being ambushed when least expected, particularly in situations where one is isolated and defenceless. The image of a thief lying in wait under a car, prepared to attack with such a brutal method, has been enough to make many people anxious about checking their cars after hearing strange noises. However, like many urban legends, there's no evidence to support that such incidents have actually occurred. Despite its vivid and terrifying details, the story seems to exist purely in the realm of folklore, circulated through word of mouth, email chains, and internet forums over the years. The legend taps into primal fears of vulnerability, blending them with the very real concern of car theft, which makes it a memorable tale for those who hear it. While the ankle-slicing car thief might seem plausible enough to make drivers cautious, it remains just a story, another piece of urban myth that continues to circulate, feeding on the universal fear of being caught off guard in a dangerous situation. Tonight, we venture into the forests of North America to explore the legendary tale of Bigfoot. Relax, unwind, and let this mysterious story of the elusive creature guide you gently into sleep. Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, is one of the most well-known and enduring legends in North American folklore. Described as an ape-like creature, Bigfoot is said to inhabit the dense forests and remote wilderness areas across the continent, particularly in the Pacific Northwest. Sightings of the elusive creature date back centuries, with Native American tribes sharing stories of a large, hairy being that roamed the forests. The modern legend of Bigfoot gained widespread attention in the mid-20th century when numerous reports of sightings began to surface. Witnesses described the creature as standing anywhere between 6 and 9 feet tall, covered in dark fur with massive footprints, hence the name Bigfoot. It is often depicted as a shy, reclusive being that avoids human contact, yet its occasional sightings and the discovery of large footprints in remote areas have kept the legend alive. The most famous piece of supposed evidence is the 1967 Patterson-Gimlin film, which claims to capture footage of a Bigfoot walking through a forest in California. Though the authenticity of the film has been widely debated, it remains an iconic part of Bigfoot lore. Despite countless expeditions, no concrete scientific proof of Bigfoot's existence has ever been found. Skeptics argue that sightings can be explained by misidentifications of known animals or hoaxes, while believers insist that the creature remains undiscovered nature. Whether real or a product of imagination, Bigfoot continues to captivate people's curiosity. The legend has become ingrained in popular culture, inspiring books, movies, and documentaries. While evidence may be lacking, the mystery of Bigfoot endures, keeping the folklore alive and fueling the imaginations of those who believe that something extraordinary still roams the forests of North America. Let's drift into the eerie whispers of Eastern Europe, where a mysterious black car roamed the streets, haunting, silent, and deadly. Welcome to the legend of the Black Volga. The Black Volga is an urban legend that circulated in Eastern Europe, especially during the 1960s and 1970s. It centres around a mysterious black Volga limousine that was allegedly used to abduct people, particularly children. According to the legend, the car would appear suddenly on quiet streets, driven by unknown figures, often described as government agents, priests, or even supernatural beings like vampires or the devil himself. The rumours varied from region to region, but one constant remained. Anyone who saw the Black Volga or came too close to it would disappear without a trace. In some versions, the victims were taken for organ harvesting, while others claimed they were used in bizarre occult rituals. Children were the most common targets, vanishing after being approached by the ominous vehicle, leading to widespread fear among parents. Some believed the kidnappings were part of a larger government conspiracy, while others suspected that foreign powers or even secret societies were behind the abductions. The vehicle itself, typically a black Volga, Gazi 21 or Gazi 24, became synonymous with fear. The dark windows, the eerie silence as it moved, and the inability to identify the driver or passengers added to the sense of dread. In some accounts, the Volga had red curtains, horns, or other demonic features. The myth grew as people claimed to see the car speeding through the neighbourhoods or lurking near schools and playgrounds. Although there is no substantial evidence to support these claims, the Black Volga legend played into the anxieties of the time, when people lived under oppressive regimes and feared the unknown. The cold, controlling nature of Soviet rule, combined with stories of disappearances, fueled paranoia. The legend of the Black Volga became a way to explain the unexplainable. A person goes missing, and the car was blamed. Over time, the story evolved and spread beyond Eastern Europe, becoming part of a broader tapestry of urban legends. Though the panic surrounding the Black Volga has faded, it remains a chilling reminder of how fear can drive communities to believe in the darkest of tales. Tonight, let's drift into the mystical world of Alexandria's Genesis. Relax as we explore this captivating urban legend, where purple eyes and timeless beauty weave a tale of wonder and mystery. Alexandria's Genesis is an intriguing urban legend about a fictional genetic mutation that supposedly grants individuals a range of supernatural physical traits. According to the myth, those who possess this mutation have striking purple eyes, which allegedly develop within 6 months of birth, and remain a permanent feature throughout their lives. In addition to their unique eye colour, they are said to have smooth, shimmering, pale skin, completely free of freckles and blemishes, and they supposedly lack body hair, except for the hair on their heads, eyebrows and eyelashes. One of the most extraordinary claims of Alexandria's genesis is that women who carry the mutation do not menstruate, yet they remain fully fertile. This aspect of the legend has drawn particular fascination due to its suggestion that the mutation frees women from the typical biological processes of reproduction while still allowing them to have children. Other supposed benefits include a slow aging process that allows those with Alexandria's genesis to live for over a century without showing signs of aging, maintaining youthful appearances well into old age. Additionally, individuals with the mutation are claimed to have heightened immune systems, making them resistant to diseases and giving them a remarkable level of physical endurance. Despite the captivating nature of the legend, Alexandria's genesis is entirely fictional. The story originated from a piece of Daria fan fiction written in 1998, which described a character with these fantastical traits. Over time, particularly during the 2000s, the story began circulating on internet forums and social media, where it was presented as though it were a real genetic condition. The narrative quickly gained popularity as people were drawn to the idea of such a mutation, combining elements of beauty, immortality, and biological perfection. In reality, there is no scientific basis for Alexandria's genesis. Purple eyes, the lack of body hair, and the absence of menstruation while maintaining fertility are biologically impossible under current genetic knowledge. Let's journey into the peaceful waters of the Pacific coast, where legends of Cadborosaurus, a mysterious sea serpent, drift in the waves. Relax and let the soothing tale unfold. Cadborosaurus, affectionately known as Caddy, is a legendary sea serpent that has captured the imagination of many along the Pacific coast of North America. Its name is derived from Cadboro Bay, a coastal area in Greater Victoria, British Columbia, where it has reportedly been spotted numerous times over the years. The legend of Caddy has become a staple of local folklore, with stories of its sightings stretching from Alaska to California, although British Columbia remains its most frequent haunt. Described as a massive, snake-like creature, Cadborosaurus is said to possess a long serpentine body, often estimated to be between 10 to 50 feet in length. Witnesses describe its head as horse-like, with large eyes, and sometimes small horns or fins protruding from the sides. The creature is also thought to have humps along its back, similar to the classic sea serpent imagery that has been passed down through various cultures around the world. These humps are often visible as it glides just beneath the surface of the water, leaving a distinct wake in its path. Caddy's elusive nature adds to the mystery surrounding it. There are countless accounts from sailors, fishermen, and beachgoers who claim to have seen the creature, yet no definitive physical evidence has ever been produced to confirm its existence. The creature is usually reported to move with great speed, effortlessly cutting through the water, making it difficult to capture or photograph. Some theories suggest that Caddy could be a type of prehistoric marine animal that has managed to survive in the deep, unexplored waters of the Pacific. Others believe it could be an undiscovered species of giant eel or a relative of the oarfish, a long ribbon-like fish known for its impressive size. Throughout the years, various expeditions and searches have been launched to find Cadborosaurus, but none have succeeded in proving the creature's existence. In 1937, the legend gained even more traction when the carcass of a strange sea creature, believed by some to be caddy, was found in the stomach of a sperm whale. The discovery sparked a flurry of media attention, but the remains were never properly examined, and skeptics argue that the body was likely that of a known marine species. Despite the lack of solid evidence, the legend of Cadborosaurus lives on, inspiring curiosity and wonder about what might still be lurking beneath the waves. Tonight, let's unwind with a chilling yet calming tale, The Babysitter and the Man Upstairs. Relax as we explore this eerie urban legend, perfect for gently drifting into sleep. In a quiet suburban neighbourhood in the 1960s, a teenage girl named Jenny was hired to babysit two young children while their parents enjoyed a night out. The house was large, and after putting the children to bed, Jenny settled on the couch to watch TV. The night seemed peaceful, but it wouldn't stay that way for long. After about an hour, the phone rang. Thinking it might be the parents calling to check in, Jenny answered. On the other end of the line was a strange voice, cold and unsettling. "Have you checked the children?" the voice asked before hanging up abruptly. Startled, Jenny assumed it was a prank. She glanced upstairs but dismissed the call as a joke. However, the phone rang again. The same eerie voice repeated the question, "Have you checked the children?" This time, the caller stayed silent a bit longer before hanging up. Fear began to settle in. Jenny looked up the stairs, hesitant to check, then tried to shake off the growing unease. A third call came, and the voice was now more forceful. "Why haven't you checked the children?" Jenny, her heart racing, hung up and called the police, explaining the situation. They told her to remain calm and wait while they traced the call. Minutes felt like hours as she sat nervously on the couch, glancing frequently at the darkened staircase. The phone rang again. With trembling hands, Jenny picked up the receiver. This time, the police were on the line. Their voices were filled with urgency. "Get out of the house immediately. The call is coming from inside," they warned. Terrified, Jenny dropped the phone and bolted for the front door. As she ran outside, she saw the flashing lights of the police car arriving. The officers rushed into the house and discovered a man hiding upstairs in the children's room. He had been calling her from one of the house's other lines, lurking in the same house as her the entire time. The children were unharmed, but Jenny was left traumatised by the events of the night. The incident spread quickly through town and soon became one of the most chilling urban legends, a cautionary tale to babysitters everywhere. Always check the children and beware of calls coming from inside the house. Relax and unwind as we delve into the eerie tale of the Buckley family, an urban legend shrouded in mystery. Let the chilling story guide you gently into a deep, peaceful sleep. The Buckley family urban legend revolves around a chilling photograph of two children who reportedly murdered their mother on Halloween night. The story begins with the discovery of an old, grainy, black and white photo found in an abandoned house, showing a young boy and girl standing side by side. At first glance, the picture seems innocent, but upon closer inspection, there's something unnerving about the children's blank expressions. The story behind the photo is far more sinister. According to legend, the Buckley family lived in a quiet neighbourhood in the 1950s. On Halloween, the two Buckley children, who were around 10 and 12 years old, brutally murdered their mother in cold blood. They supposedly authorities arrived, the children were found sitting on the porch, eerily silent, still wearing their costumes, their hands stained with blood. The photograph that surfaced after the incident is said to have been taken moments before or after the murder, capturing the children in their eerie calmness. Some believe the image was discovered by the police as part of their investigation, while others say it was found years later in the abandoned Buckley house, where the children had been left to live after the tragedy. The whereabouts of the children after the murder remain unknown, adding to the mystery and fear surrounding the story. Over time, the Buckley family legend became a popular urban myth, with various retellings on online forums and in ghost story circles. The photograph itself has become a symbol of fear, said to be cursed. Anyone who gazes at it too long or too often experiences terrible nightmares, or even worse, finds themselves drawn into the same darkness that consumed the Buckley children. The Buckley family tale continues to be passed down as a reminder of the horrors that can lurk behind seemingly innocent faces, forever leaving a haunting impression on those who hear it. Welcome to our soothing journey into the mysterious world of urban legends. Tonight, we'll explore the haunting tale of the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall, a story that whispers through the ages. The Brown Lady of Raynham Hall is one of the most famous ghost stories in England, originating from the picturesque Raynham Hall in Norfolk. This legend captures the imagination of those fascinated by the supernatural and the unexplained. Raynham Hall, built in the early 18th century, was the ancestral home of the Townshend family. It is a grand estate characterised by its stunning architecture and beautiful grounds, but it also harbours a chilling tale of loss and lingering spirits. The story of the Brown Lady is closely linked to Lady Dorothy Walpole, the sister of the first Prime Minister, Sir Robert Walpole. It is said that she married Charles Townshend, a man known for his volatile temperament. The couple's marriage was fraught with difficulties, leading to tragedy and heartbreak. According to legend, Lady Dorothy fell in love with another man, which enraged her husband. In a fit of jealousy, Townshend confined her to Raynham Hall, where she was said to have lived in isolation for many years. Her suffering took a toll on her health, and it is believed that she eventually died of despair. Some accounts suggest that she was buried in a secret location, leading to speculation about a restless spirit haunting the halls of the estate. The haunting began to capture public attention in the early 20th century, when two photographers, including Captain Hubert Provat, visited Raynham Hall in 1936. They were there to capture images of the historic building when they encountered an unexpected sight. As they set up their equipment, a figure appeared before them, a woman in a flowing brown gown, seemingly floating down the staircase. Provat and his colleague quickly snapped a photograph, which would later become one of the most famous ghost images in history. The photograph, known as the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall, shows a spectral figure descending the staircase, shrouded in a mysterious aura. This image sparked widespread fascination and debate, drawing the attention of both skeptics and believers in the paranormal. Many claimed it was a genuine ghostly apparition, while others argued it could be a double exposure or a trick of light. Regardless of the theories surrounding the photograph, it has become story of the Brown Lady, allowing guests to delve into the haunting narrative that lingers in the air. Tonight, we journey to Iowa City, where the eerie legend of the Black Angel awaits. Let the mysterious tale of this cursed statue guide you into a peaceful and restful sleep. Black Annis, also known as Black Agnes or Black Anna, is a chilling figure in English folklore, described as a terrifying hag with a blue face, sharp iron claws, and a fierce hunger for human flesh. She lurks in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. According to the legend, Black Annis once lived in a cave in the Dane Hills near Leicester, which she is said to have carved out herself using only her iron claws. The entrance of her cave was surrounded by a large oak tree, from which she would emerge to hunt her prey. Her most infamous targets were children and young animals. The legend says that Black Annis would creep into the nearby villages under the cover of nightfall, dragging children back to her cave to devour them. She would skin her victims and hang their hides on the branches of her oak tree, using them to make clothing for herself during the harsh winters. Parents in the area used the tale of Black Annis as a way to scare their children into behaving or staying indoors after dark. The mere mention of her name would be enough to keep children obedient and fearful of wandering too far from home. Some versions of the legend claim that Black Annis could stretch her long arms through windows to snatch disobedient children from their beds if they didn't close their shutters at night. Despite her terrifying reputation, Black Annis also played a role in explaining natural phenomena. Her dark cave, according to local law, was believed to be an old burial site or a den she carved in the hillside. Some believed that her presence symbolised the harshness of nature, particularly the long, unforgiving winters that plagued the countryside. Over time, the tale of Black Annis grew in popularity and spread beyond the villages, becoming part of Leicester's folklore. Some say her spirit still haunts the area, while others believe she was merely a cautionary figure created to instill fear in children and protect them from the dangers of the wilderness. Today, Black Annis remains a symbol of fear and darkness in English folklore. Her legacy lives on as one of the most terrifying urban legends, reminding people of the thin line between the safety of home and the lurking dangers of the outside world.